grind, to the hustle, the pursuit of wealth. Every story, every journey, every climb from the shelf. Here's to the drive, to the fight, to pursuit of wealth.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Pursuit of Wealth podcast with our co-host, the Jace Wright.
Man,
dude,
gets me hyped.
I'm getting
well done.
They call me Bruce Buffer, dude. No, I'm excited. We're back in the studio again. We missed another week.
We did,
and I am super disappointed in that. It's been a busy few weeks, but nonetheless, we're back, and we're gonna try to continue to be as consistent as we can, and come out with another banger episode. But I'm going to let you kick it off today, Jace. What do you want to talk about?
Thank you. First of all, that intro was incredible. It was good. Man, I don't know. I texted you earlier today, and, a lot of times we have an agenda of what we want to talk about and stuff. And I didn't want to interrupt that agenda because I feel like we've got a good flow going on. But there's an interesting concept, and you're going over it a fair amount, I think, tomorrow when we have our group. That we get together once a month.
Our Pursuit of Wealth group mastermind.
Group mastermind. And it's the concept that I think a lot of people struggle with that don't recognize that they struggle with it. Mm. And it's whether you're in the corporate world and you feel like you're at your ceiling and you don't have anywhere to go. So you feel stuck and you don't want to make the move because you're worried it might cut your income.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a business and you feel stretched thin with your time because you're working a crap ton, but you're scared or timid or a little bit reserved on hiring somebody because it's going to cost you more, which goes into your bottom line. Mm-hmm. People aren't looking at the bigger picture. And this is one thing, I'll preface it by saying, I'm very passionate about this topic for multiple reasons. And I think we'll dive into that. But that's kind of the concept of what I wanted to discuss with you on how can we help people understand that not only is it just good for you, it's essential for growth.
100%.
It's essential. It has to be done at some point.
Everything you're saying, the concept applies to investing. It applies to growing or building a business. It applies to a lot of things in life. You have to... It's basically you choosing to invest today for your future. When we talk about investing, it is sacrificing or taking a step back on what you could be spending each month to set money aside for your future. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about business, it is taking a little bit of a step back on your income to maybe make that next hire that is then going to allow you more time to focus on things that are going to generate more revenue to get to that next ceiling of revenue. I think what people get confused at is you're always going to be capped unless you make these investments. You will never have, from the investing side, you'll never be able to not trade your time for money unless you have money put aside.
Right. That's
working for you. If you don't, then you're always going to be trading your time for money. You're always going to have to be working to create active income. The only way out of that game, there is no other way. The only way is to save money and start investing your money so that it starts paying you. And you don't even have to, let's take the investing side out. You don't even have to invest it. Even if you just save it, that's one step in the right direction because if you don't have money saved, you will always have to be working for money. And you need money to survive. There's always going to be bills that need paid. If you food to eat, if you want to eat, you're going to need to pay for that. So you're always going to have things that you need to pay for. So if you think about it, it's unless I start saving money, I will always have to be working to cover my basic needs. It's the same thing in business. Now you take this concept of business, you're capped on time. And so if you're really busy right now and stressed, you need to make a hire. But a lot of people are scared to make that hire because they're it's going to cost me, let's say you're making $100,000 a year, but you're kind of capped. It's going to cost you $40,000, $50,000 to go hire an employee. Well, somebody looks at that and they're well, I'm going to go from making $100,000 to coming right out of my bottom line, 40, 50 grand. So I'm going to lose 50% of my income. Yes, in the short term. But the long-term goal is you are now going to hopefully be able to get some of your time back And that time should hopefully, you should go double your revenue, right? You should, if you've got half of your time back, why could you not go now create $200,000 in revenue versus 100?
Sure.
And then if you're paying somebody 50 of the 200, you're net positive 150.
And that goes to directions. Because like I look at that as the example that you shared as far as like, okay, if you're wanting to scale your business, still go all in on trying to grow, but you have capped out on what you can personally do. Your next step is to take that dip, hire someone so that you can allocate that time. They're allocating time to what you were doing, and it doubles your business essentially.
Correct.
For easy numbers. That's one road.
Yep.
The other road too is, let's say that you are in a comfortable position. You're making $200,000, $300,000 in your business.
Yep.
You want time back
100%
for yourself. How much is that time worth? Is that worth $50,000? Are you okay making $250 instead of $300 so that you can have your time back to then spend and do whatever you want? And that's the two directions that we want to go. What I feel like most people are in right now is they're at that point where they're stuck. They're capped out on their time.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do next, and they're scared, timid, conservative, nervous to take the hit. How do we get them over that threshold?
It's a great question. And I want to hit on what you just said there because that was a good point. At some point, you could always go make more money. Mm-hmm. So at some point you have to decide, get clear on where you're going and what that end goal is, because then it's going to be, hey, I mean, we need X amount saved up, to live off of 100 that generates $100,000 a year that we could live off of. And that's going to give us our time freedom that we've been looking for. If you never have that, you never really know what you're shooting for. You can always just increase the goalpost. Cause like you could always just add more leverage and go create more money. Mm-hmm. So there is that two-sided factor. It's like, at what point do you say, hey, no, I'm actually really comfortable here. If I can just bring in $300,000 a year, like I'm happy and I will leverage out as much everything else as long as I can still net the 300 and I can have my time. Like you need to figure out what that number is for you because it's going to vary. But like that is the end goal that everybody should be looking for, is what is the number that you need to be bringing in that allows you to also have the time and flexibility that you want and get to that point. But it's all just a leverage. Like we're talking about leverage, creating leverage in your life. And there's different forms of leverage. The first form, it's always been like human labor. Like that's the first form of leverage. Getting your time back, hiring somebody to go do the work for you is a form of leverage. Mm-hmm. The other form of leverage is money. So using money to either, like you said, just pay people, like not really looking to make more money, but I'm just going to use the money that I have to pay people to do the things and get my time back. Or I'm going to use the money in the stock market or in investments to leverage so that it pays me so that I don't have to go out and generate as much active income. That's leverage. There's also another form of leverage now that I think is really going to hit at, like we've kind of already seen it with automation and stuff, like within businesses, but like AI and robotics. That's going to be the next huge wave of leverage. If you can learn how to leverage AI and robotics to be more productive, you're going to be able to get your time back at a lower cost than hiring out actual labor, which I'm really curious to see how that's what I'm really excited and bullish on over the next few years. But back to your question of like, how do you get people to make that jump? I think the first thing they have to know where they're going. Like what is the goal?
Important, dude. Because I love that you said that, because I had that in my brain of like what I considered. We didn't talk about this before starting the podcast, so I'm really glad you said that. People don't look 5 years in the future very often. They're so set on where they're at now and just trying to either survive or make it work, or they're busy and they're stuck in the day. And you don't take 30 seconds to sit back and be like, is this where I want my life to be in 5 years? And I would argue more often than not, that answer is going to be no for a lot of people. If it's no, you've got to dial in and make that decision on, okay, how do I get to where I want to be in 5 years? And it can't just be a pipe dream of, I'm going to just start saving more, or I'm just going to start, investing, when you haven't made the decision on setting aside money, like all the things that we've talked about. But a lot of that is going to come down to, leverage. How are you going to leverage either your skill set if you're in the corporate world, or leverage your time by hiring someone if you're running your own business?
Yeah. The hardest thing you always hear, reverse engineering, reverse engineering your life. And it's so true, because you have to know where do you want to be? And then you go backwards.
Yeah.
Like, how can I actually get there theoretically? Or like, what is required for me to actually hit these goals? A lot of the times, if you have these massive goals, you're going to realize you can't do it alone. Like, it is physically impossible. You don't have enough time in the day for you to do it all. And maybe that's, if I'd say if you can do it all alone, your goals are probably not big enough.
Right.
But you shouldn't be able to hit your goals all by yourself. It is going to require you to expand and either hire out or create leverage in your life to get to that next level. And so, but you can only know that that's the requirement if you know where the end goal is, and then you decide, like, okay, we're going to use real estate because that's like the easiest thing. Obviously, we know you're going to be capped on how many showings and clients and stuff that you can meet with on a daily basis.
Yep.
So, if looking at the math, you're like, okay, if I'm closing 20, 30, 40 houses a year, but I want to double my income, okay, well, I'd have to get to 80 houses. Is that possible for me as a solo person? Chances are it's, if you're wearing all the hats in that business, it's going to be very difficult. And so then you have to look at, okay, can I go hire an admin or assistant to take this half of the work that allows me to focus on the 50% of the work that is the highest ROI, and just offload as much as I can of the lower task work? Because then it's like, let's say you can hire somebody that gives you 20 hours back a week. Okay. In those 20 hours, you can go now show more houses and put more deals together. And you only have to pay that person, let's say 50 grand, but getting 20 more hours back can allow you to sell another 10 houses. And then you do the math. You're like, well, if I can sell another 10 houses, I can make another 100 grand. That's a no brainer. Like, invest the 20 to go make another 100.
Yep.
But it's really hard. I also think the problem is some people just don't believe in themselves. So they're scared to make that hire because they think that they're not ready, or they don't believe that they can achieve the outcome of that hire. I actually attribute this to a lot of our success is like, I try to leverage everything, and I probably do it a little bit. I probably go too fast, like hire people that I don't need, but just hire them anyway because I want to start creating that leverage. But a lot of business owners are the complete opposite. They don't want to hire. They wait till the very end to hire somebody, and they're drowning and they get burnt out. And we've talked about this. It's like the true game of entrepreneurship or running a business is like, it is consistency over time. How long can you be playing the game? And the problem is a lot of people leave real estate, or they start a business, but then end up shutting down their business after a few years because they get burnt out because they haven't built the leverage in that they need. And it all circles back to personal finances, because at the end of the day, the reason they're not willing to take that step back and make that hire is because they aren't willing to sacrifice today's dollars, which means, they're used to making 100 grand. The thought of them having to make 20,000 less, they've put themselves in a corner where they can't. They're like, hey, I'm living paycheck to paycheck on 100 grand, which, okay, that's just bad financial management.
Right. You
should never get used to spending all of your paycheck ever. Because then you put yourself in this corner where you can't make decisions.
Yep.
I've always been like, I've never been a Dave Ramsey person, but I feel like the more money I get and the more like financial education I get, I'm like, I actually agree and understand a lot of what he says. It makes a ton of sense. But I was never like, I need to save money. Like starting out, I need to save money for retirement. That honestly wasn't my goal. My goal is like, I want to save money, and I'm putting money aside and not, expending everything I bring in, because I want options. I knew that if I had money, I had options for the future. If I needed an assistant, I could go hire an assistant. If I needed a nanny at home, like we could have funds to go hire a nanny. Like I just never wanted my back against the wall And I never wanted to put myself in a corner that I couldn't get out of. And so I always made sure that we always had liquid funds, or we were putting money aside. Even when we, you know, it was like I was doing really well for a few years before we really did anything, took on any kind of major expenses, you know. But the problem is, we've talked about lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep in and of itself is not a bad thing. Your life should get better as you progress. So I'm not saying like live in a shack forever.
But it shouldn't match your income every year.
It should never match your income.
Yeah.
Ever. There should always be a gap.
Yep.
And that's what people get wrong. If you go from 100K to 150K, awesome. Increase your life to 120,000.
Yeah. Go on a trip or two, like do whatever.
But don't increase your life and your expenses all the way up to 150 grand again.
Yeah.
And obviously the larger the game is, the larger you can keep that gap, the faster you're gonna get that freedom. Mm-hmm. But I am not saying that you can't upgrade your life. Like, you can't get the nicer house, you can't get the nicer car, you can't go on the trips. I want you to do all that, and you should reward yourself, but it should be an equivalent to the progression that you're seeing. You need to make sure that there's always a gap.
And I don't know the demographic of the age of our listeners, but like, this decision is easier the younger you are.
Yeah.
Don't ever settle if you're in your 20s. Like, you shouldn't settle ever. You should be willing to take chances on yourself and bet on yourself. But the dynamic of that changes when you have mouths to feed and a family to provide for. When you're in your 20s trying to figure this out, don't settle.
Yeah.
So there's one thing. And I have a lot of like jumbled, passionate things that are in my brain. So I'm going to try to keep this direct.
Yeah.
But I listened to a podcast the other day, and he said a lot of things that I relate to pretty heavily. So he lost his dad a year ago, and he's talking about business and like some of the regrets that he had. And one thing that he said that I relate to so much, and why I'm so passionate about this topic, is he's like, the one thing that you struggle with the loss of a loved one or different things like that is you look at the life that they lived. And he said in specific with his dad that he just waited for everything. It was never part of the plan for him to die at this age. It was never part of the plan for him, you know, to get sick and all of that stuff. But he waited. He waited to buy the truck. He waited to, you know, do the things that he wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And that's why to try to illustrate why I think people overexert themselves is because they're trying not to wait. They're trying to get everything that they want super fast, but they don't take a second to breathe and to just take a step back and enjoy the road and the journey that you're on as well. It's this go, 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 go mentality. I got to get it as quick as I can. I got to put in 80 hours a week. Like, take a step back and enjoy it. Leverage, if applied correctly, can help you enjoy and not have to wait.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
It does. And I've got some thoughts on that.
Yeah. Hit me.
Because this is the dynamic that we always get torn with. It is the save for your future or live in the moment. Mm-hmm. And I agree with what you said on, like, there's actually, if you're in your early 20s, saving money, like if you can save money, obviously great. Your biggest goal should be like, you should reinvest into yourself, increase your skill set. Like, if you're only saving like $100, $200 a month, like, you need to figure out how to increase your income first. So like, don't be so concerned on saving money when you're in your early 20s. Figure out what you want to do in life, figure out a good skill set, figure out how to become more valuable in the marketplace. And then when you're making a good income, you need to make sure that you're being smart and saving money. But to your point about, he didn't buy the truck, he didn't, do the certain things, he waited. I think the most important thing you can do is determine what is actually valuable in your life.
Sure.
Because let's say he would have bought the truck. I'm going to use a truck as an example. Mm-hmm. He would have realized that the truck really wasn't going to do anything for him.
Yeah.
The people sometimes have these materialistic goals, or I'm going to wait until X. I'm going to wait to enjoy life until I have this kind of house. I'm going to wait to enjoy life until I have this much money in the bank. I don't agree with those things.
So before you continue, let me preface it by saying, like, he used the truck, like, the guy could have afforded the truck.
Yeah.
He could have. It was one of the things that he talked about as like, man, I just would really love a truck, or I'd really love to go on that vacation with the kids, or, you know, different things like that.
For sure.
Obviously, don't buy the truck if you can't afford the truck.
Correct.
Like, but the point I think he was trying to make was just like enjoying the ride, as well as don't just wait for everything.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because there is that other side of, there's actually another side of people that save too much.
Yes.
And never know how to spend money.
Correct.
They just hoard it, and they're like, you know, and maybe, you know, it is the, we'll wait. And it's like, dude, you've got a few million in the bank. Mm-hmm. You can afford the $60,000 truck, just buy it.
Sure.
Like, yes, I agree with that. Enjoy life. And it all comes down to, what are your rules? Like, and where are you going? What is the end goal? And being okay, like, you're probably always going to move the goalposts, so I want to be careful with this. But getting to a point and allowing yourself to enjoy life. Because a lot of the people that develop good principles of saving money have a hard time breaking those principles and spending money later in their life. Mm-hmm. But it's like, at the end of the day, the only thing that you're going to have is memories. And so whatever fulfillment you get out, like, maybe it could be the memories of buying a truck and driving it wherever you want to drive it, or a sports car. For me, it's like traveling with family. Those kind of memories, like, I live for that. That's why I want to continue to make money, is to be able to go have fun experiences with the people that I love. And so I'm like, you've got to have a system that works with you. So it's like, hey, as long as you're on track to hit your net worth goal, you're hitting the right savings per month that you're hitting, spend some money. Like, that's what we're saying.
Right.
Don't feel like you've got to, you know, if you get a pay increase, go from 100 to 150, that you've got to stay at 100. You don't. Maybe you increase like 10, 20 grand, but make sure that there's still a gap. That is the only thing. And whatever that gap is, like, if you've committed to saving 20 or 30% of your income, as your income scales, you can keep that rule and just say, I'm going to save 20 or 30%. And then I can spend the rest and feel good about it. I don't want to tell you what to do. I want you to come up with a method that works for you, that you feel good about following. For me, it's like, I want to speed stuff up. There's some years where I'll, like, you know, try to save 50% of my income. It's just because I want to be more aggressive at getting to my time freedom or my optionality. For me, it's like just options. I want to have flexibility. And so if I want to get there faster and have less stress, then I just decide I'm going to save more and put off a few things. Because, like, I could afford, do I want a boat? Yeah, I think a boat would be fun. I'm also really kind of practical. It's like, how often would I use a boat?
Right, right.
I'm like, me and Brie have talked, we've really decided, I think the cabin is going to be our next big purchase. And even on the cabin, sometimes I struggle, because I'm like, it would just be more financially effective to rent a cabin 4 to 6 weeks out of the year than to have a mortgage on a cabin for every month. But I get, like, having our own space and having our stuff there and just being able to go whenever we want to. And so it's like, that's probably going to be our next big thing. And just deciding, like, my point is, like, you can have anything you want in life. You usually just can't have everything you want in life.
And that's one side of the, I guess, point I'm trying to make. So that illustrates the point of someone who probably made enough money in their life to enjoy it, but just waited to do it. So don't do that. Let's transition to kind of my dad's story, which the tragedy behind his story is he wasn't making the money that he wanted to, but fell into the trap of not willing to take the hit in order to go further. My dad was a very, very smart man.
Yeah.
Could have been successful at anything that he set his mind to, but got trapped, got a job that was great, paid great. We talked about inflation last episode. Inflation crept up on him to where that same money he was making every year got less and less valuable. Living became harder and harder.
Yeah.
The hard part, though, is as I got older, I would always ask him, like, why don't you do something different? Like, just quit. Do something different.
Yeah.
And his answer was always like, I got to provide for the family, right? Which is the right answer.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. The issue I had and why I was hell-bent on never getting stuck in my life is because I watched him get stuck. They had a dream board in their office of the trips that they planned on going on when he retired. Him sitting on a beach. They did not travel. They did not go on vacations together. That was their dream. That's what they wanted to do. I never saw the ocean as a kid growing up because we just didn't do that as a family. Because it wasn't that he settled out of laziness. He was the hardest worker I knew. He didn't settle because he wasn't ambitious. He tried to do other things. Mm-hmm. He settled because he had a responsibility on his shoulders and he couldn't financially take the hit, or at least felt like he couldn't. I have my own opinions of that scenario. But the whole point I'm trying to make is fast forward to when I had that decision, right? God bless my wife, because that was a hard decision. Yeah. When I got hit with the ultimatum of I keep my job that's stable, that got me a house, got me a car, we have a place for our family, but I was capped. My dad's scenario is the reason I said absolutely not. Like, we have to, because I saw potential in real estate of what it could be.
Yeah.
Don't fall into that tragic scenario of being trapped and wishing and hoping and praying that you're just magically going to fall into the dreams that you have set for yourself. It's not going to happen. Unexpected things happen. And same with this other guy I listened to on the podcast. Obviously, my dad's death was not planned. It was not part of the plan.
Yeah.
It was tragic. And the reason it's so heartbreaking is because he didn't get to live out those things that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
My mom didn't get to do that with him. And I'm hell-bent on helping people realize that. I'm hell-bent on myself realizing that, because that is what creates regret in life, is the lost out opportunities, lost out memories. So take a chance on yourself. Take the hit that might happen, might be 20, 30 grand or whatever it is, figure it out. Yeah. And then progress.
This is actually, this is something I am extremely passionate about. It's why I run the team. Mm-hmm. I look at, it's funny, me and Bree were actually talking about this just last night. Because we're actually listening. We've started going on some date nights, and we talk about the future. And we're going on one tonight. And this one is kind of like talking about getting clear on our household and how we want our household to be ran and what the future looks like. And anyways, on that, we were just discussing things last night, and we were discussing legacy. And a lot of people think about legacy as like what you're going to leave behind financially. Like, what is your legacy? What do you want, what kind of legacy do you want to build? And I think like legacy is, what are people going to say about you when you're gone? That's like your actual legacy. That's really all that matters. Yep. I'm not concerned about what we leave behind. I'm more concerned about what people think. And we were looking back and we're like, it is really cool to even look at just over the last few years, some of the impact around the things that we've done. Like, I look at the people that have come into our lives that are in total different financial situations than they were before then.
I'm a perfect example of that.
I think, like, I look at our team leader, Devin and Kendrell. Like, Devin was managing, at Fat Cats, making decent money, like corporate. They were on the Dave Ramsey stuff, like driving the beat up truck. And I look at where they're at now and the success they have now. Not saying that that's attributed to us. I think he was a hard worker, but I think he just needed to see what was possible and be around people that could help him push further and believe in himself that he could achieve, and then create opportunities to allow him to achieve that. I look at, we got our barber, Braden, out of being a barber. It's like, being a barber, you can only see so many clients a day. Like, you're pretty capped on what your potential income is going to be. And you're on a fixed schedule. You're going to be there from, Monday through Saturday, certain times. Now, to watch him be able to create more money, have more flexibility, it's just cool to see. And I think you need somebody, it's about who you surround yourself with, that are going to help empower you to make the decision to believe in yourself and take that risk. Because you look at your dad and you say, you know, he was a hard worker. He could have done anything that he would have set his mind to. Did he just need other people around him that believed in him to help give him that push?
100%.
Or to show him that it was possible?
And he had that belief from my mom. Like my mom obviously was his biggest cheerleader.
For sure.
Supported him in whatever he decided to do.
For sure.
He was his own worst enemy when it came to that. Like he had a little bit of, I think, self-confidence in like taking that. Can I really do it?
I think
being surrounded by people would have been huge.
I think most spouses, will believe in you and want, like, support you.
Mm-hmm.
It is still hard as a male figure to believe in yourself. And a lot of the times you just need to see it. You need to see somebody else doing it, because you look at the concept of they thought you'd die if you ran a 4-minute mile.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one guy runs a 4-minute mile, and then like 12 people later that year run a 4-minute mile.
Yep.
Just because you won't die.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is possible. Same thing with like the under 2-hour marathon. Like, these things, a lot of the times they are possible, but you struggle to believe it because you've never seen it. And we like to see things in order to believe them. Yep. And so that's why I think getting into mastermind groups, I think getting into programs or communities where you're surrounded by people that are doing things for you to see what's possible. I can't tell you how many times, like, when I first got into real estate, like, I was at a brokerage that we were the top producing agents. I'm like, oh man, we're on top of the world. And I didn't know what we could actually be doing because nobody was doing more than us. As far as I could see, we were the best. We were at the top. And then I go and I meet like somebody like Michael Perry, and I'm like, oh, dude, we are little fish.
We ain't even close.
I
was the same way. You make fun of me for this all the time. Like, first year in real estate, Boise, Association of Realtors gives me a little plaque for doing $3 million in a year. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm chilling. And then I could get on the team and I'm like, there's people that do that in a month.
Yeah.
That's an issue.
That's a different game. But it shows you what's possible.
Yes.
It's like you think your environment impacts you so much.
Yeah.
And if you've never seen somebody make $1 million, it's really hard for you to fathom. And I'm going to use $1 million to be dramatic. Yeah. But it's the same thing with 6 figures. If you don't know anybody that's made 6 figures, it's going to be really hard for you to believe that making 6 figures is possible. Yeah. And it's interesting because there was a study that like kids that were growing up in better neighborhoods, obviously, where neighbors all made like multiple 6 figures. Those kids, that's what they believed that was the bare minimum. Like, they were going to get out of high school and go to college and stuff, and they were going to make multiple 6 figures. Like, because that's all they saw. Yep. They didn't know anybody that made less. That was their normal. You go to a lower income neighborhood, they don't know anybody that's making 6 figures. They don't think that's possible. It's their environment. The only change is their environment. The skill, like, they can go learn and do the things to make that income. They don't, because they don't actually know if it's possible. They don't have the belief because they don't see it. And so sometimes it's like, dude, I'm even like, go stay at the nice hotel. Go
experience it one time.
Experience it a little bit and surround yourself with people that are there, and be like, and you'll kind of realize like, these are all normal people. Yeah. They're like, if they can do it, why can't I do it? What does he know that I don't know? Like, what skill does he have that I don't have? I need to figure that out. And because, he puts on his pants the same way I do in the morning. He brushes his teeth. He's human. Yeah. And I think when you realize that, even meeting some like high net worth individuals, people, famous people, you realize that we're all human. We're all the same beings. The information is out there for you to learn. It just depends on what you want to learn and what kind of skill set you want to take on that's going to make you the amount of money that you want to make. I think, and it goes back to anything is possible. I truly believe that. Like, I'm a big believer that you can achieve anything you want in life. You just can't have everything you want in life. You have to make a sacrifice, and you have to make a decision on what is your actual goals. Mm-hmm. I've said this before, like, I think Jace could be a professional golfer. No doubt. Like, if you decided that's what you wanted to do, and you cut out everything else and you were just at the range for 10 hours a day, there'd be no reason you wouldn't be. But it would be quite the sacrifice because you'd have no money for a few years.
Right.
But it's like, would that be worth it in the long run? If you could then go sign a $20 million contract, I mean, that might be worth it. But the thing is, most people will never get there because they will never make the sacrifice.
They won't make the sacrifice or look at like, is that what I want my life to look like in 5 years?
Correct.
Right. Like, and that's the other important aspect to this whole thing that I've been trying to illustrate is take 5 seconds to just think about what you want your life to look like in the next 5 years. And if it has nothing to do with what you're doing currently, you're in the wrong space. You've got to change. And that change needs to happen ASAP, like really fast. And so, again, I credit my wife because, again, like stepping away from the corporate job and the stability that we had to go and do real estate, knowing that we were going to take a hit, we sat and had that conversation. It was a very important conversation. We're like, hey, I don't know when my next paycheck will come in when we take this. So we need to sell the house. We need to pay off all our vehicles, sell our vehicles to get cheaper ones. Like we were like, we need to reset. Gosh, I don't know how she did it. Like that's brutal, right? But what I wanted my life to look like in 5 years was very different than what I was experiencing. And I remember the following year, I didn't even have that great of a year in real estate.
Yeah.
But my life started to look like what I wanted it to in 5 years. I remember I got my wife some jewelry or something for Christmas, but it came with a note just thanking her. And I started bawling. Like I was just like, I've never been this happy in my entire life.
Yeah.
Knowing that like I almost felt free from being stuck because I knew that was such a dangerous position to be in.
Yeah.
And so I'm like just expressing gratitude to her for the sacrifice she made along with me to be my cheerleader and help me get to where we needed to go. But the point I'm trying to make is I look at my life right now. I look at the job I'm doing. I would do this for the rest of my life and be freaking happy about it.
Yeah.
That's a crazy feeling that I don't think a lot of people have. And I consider myself blessed to have found it. But at the end of the day, I got to give myself some credit for being willing to take the hit to go chase it.
100%.
Go chase your dreams.
And you're not going to get there overnight.
No.
I want to make that very clear. There was a few years of struggle.
Yes.
Sacrifice.
Had help from family that I was blessed to have. I got to give family a ton of credit.
Yeah.
Right? And not everybody's going to have that. I understand that. But yeah, a lot of struggle.
You go back to your dad's situation. It's like, he didn't think it was possible, but could he have done something similar? Sold the houses or sold the vehicle, sold the house, liquidated, got into a rental, downsized a little bit, and took the risk.
Yep. He could have.
It's a lot.
He was selfless in the sense that he didn't want to put his kids through that. That's why
100%.
This decision has to be made early.
Yeah.
My kids won't remember this sacrifice. Like they won't remember living in the basement. They won't remember living in a rental, which I'm blessed for that situation. I would have, if my dad made that decision at the time I started recognizing things, and that's one of the reasons why he didn't. But at the same time, I would have been really grateful because I know he would have achieved his goals.
That was my next point. It gets harder the longer you wait. 100%. I don't think that should hold you back.
Absolutely not.
I think if you're worried, if you were worried about what the kids were going to feel like, think of the impact that it would have on them if you saw your dad do that.
Oh, dude.
You would have been like, anything's possible.
Yeah.
I went through the struggle with him. I saw what he did and then like achieved it. Like that would leave such an impact on your kids. I think, but you're absolutely right. The sooner you can make that decision and do it, the better, because then you're not going to have to go back when things do feel even more overwhelming and hard to do. And you've got more mouths to feed and people to care for. So I agree, but I think like it's never too late to change your life. Never. You just have to make a decision that like what you're sacrificing to get to the life that you want is more important than the sacrifices that you're going to make today. And it's funny that you actually like this topic is interesting. Today's Wednesday. I kind of keep my Wednesdays pretty low key. Mm-hmm. We went on a family walk, this morning around the river, got bagels, got our coffee. It's kind of been our tradition now. We're trying to do it Wednesdays and Fridays when it's nice weather. And B and Bree were driving with the kids at City Bagels this morning, and we're like, just kind of reflecting, like, how cool is it, and how grateful are we that, like, we have this, we've created this life where we're working, but we really have a ton of flexibility. Like, Bree's taking Soph to swim lessons every day for the next 3 weeks, every afternoon. She doesn't have to ask anybody. She just go do it. Like, we can go on a walk on a Wednesday morning. And, like, I would have not, this 7 years ago, before I got into real estate, like, I was working at Wells Fargo. I had to be I was there Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If I wanted a lunch break, like, I didn't even get to dictate when my lunch break was. It was like on the rotations. And hey, if they said you had to go at 11, I had to go to lunch at 11, whether I wanted to or not.
Whether you're hungry or not.
Whether I'm hungry or not. And at one point, dude, I was intermittent fasting, and I'm like, can I take my lunch later? And they're like, no. And so, like, that, I remember that pain that I felt feeling trapped, and it sucked. And it was scary, like, similar when we made our transition into real estate. Like, we lived with family, lived in an apartment for a year, like, downsized. I mean, we downsized everything, and we kind of just, we lived off of very little. But I'm also like, those were the best times. Like, looking back, the journey, you get so much fulfillment and joy looking back at the journey than you even do when you hit the success.
Right.
Because, like, the success is cool, but you get the nostalgia of looking back and seeing the struggle. It doesn't feel good in the moment when you're struggling through it. But now looking back, isn't that, like, the best part of your journey so far, is, like, you're proud of yourself and you're proud of your wife for going through that struggle together to get to where you're at.
Yeah.
Like, so if we know that the struggle is going to be the most memorable part of the journey, but yet we're all afraid to go create and go through the struggle, it's like, well, then you're never going to get that overwhelming gratitude and satisfaction, because
you will have regret.
You'll have regret because you're like, and that is probably the one, my dad sometimes, he worked at a corporate job. I know, similar, like, watching both him and my stepmom, they hated their jobs. Absolutely hated it. They were motivated to, like, save money and retire because they just want to get out of their jobs. But he could have left and done something entrepreneurial. Like, he was super entrepreneurial. He always did side businesses. And now that he's retired, he retired like March of last year, of like 2025. He started getting like construction management essentially for us. He's making more money than he ever did. Like, he's working a lot now, but, like, even just doing that, he's making more money than he ever did. But he had to retire to then feel comfortable to take the risk fully to go now see what was possible. And it's like, man, how much further ahead would he be if he had just done this 30 years ago? Like, he was totally capable of it, but
He's always been capable of it. Yeah.
100%. Nothing's changed. He's always been capable of it. He could have done it, but it was the fear of leaving a stable paycheck and having a family. Similar, like, he had kids, family to support. He had also grown up in a really low income household growing up. So, like, having the money that he had, with this steady income was hard to say no to. Like, that's more than he'd ever experienced. And so, but I'm like, dude, I push people to bet on themselves and you really increase what you think is possible. Like, there is so much abundance out in the world. There is so much opportunity for you to go seize. You just got to be willing to take the risk. And that is the best part of life, is betting on yourself, taking the risks, creating the uncomfortable things that you're going to have to encounter. That's why you see people get depressed when they sell their company or they have a big exit. It's like, why are you sad? You just made $100 million. Well, now what?
Yeah.
What do I do now?
Yep.
Like, they go through a period where, like, you can go spend all the money, do all the things, but you realize, like, the most fulfillment and joy in life that you got was building, was being surrounded by people, creating a business, creating something, working towards something, struggling a little bit. Like, if you're not struggling, then you're not alive. You're not going to feel alive if you don't have some kind of struggle or opposition.
Yeah.
And that's been really eye-opening for us too. It's like, I don't think I'll ever really retire. I think when everybody that I see that's like actually retires just dies.
Yep.
Because then what? You get bored, your mind stops working. Like, I'm probably going to plan to, I want to build a life and a business that's going to allow me to work comfortably for the rest of my life on the things that I want. The other interesting thing about going on the walk this morning, it was like 8:30, 8:45. The only people I saw out working were old people, retired people. Mm-hmm. Most of them out of shape because they waited till retirement to take their health seriously. But now they're retired. So now they're going on their morning walks. And I'm like, this is a solid reminder. I want to do more things that retired people do, but I want to do them now.
Yep.
I don't want to go on a cruise and go travel when I'm 65 and I can't do the excursions that I want. No, screw that. I'm going to go to Maui now and go spearfishing when I am like in good health and I have a good chance of actually doing it. Like, can actually function, know? Yeah. And so going back to that, like, if you have a vision board, structure your finances in a way that are going to allow you to do those things sooner. Like your dad, if like they had this vision board, if they would have made a financial system that allowed them to save money or, whatever, that they could have taken some of these trips earlier on, then I'm just a big believer. I'm like, don't wait till you're 65 for these things. It's not, I actually feel really bad when I go on these trips and I see older people and I'm like, they're struggling. I'm like, are they really enjoying it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I'd really enjoy walking and doing these hikes when I can barely move. So, but that all comes back to deciding what's important. If that's not important to you too, then like, that's totally fine. Decide what is most important to you in your life. Is it traveling? Is it driving a nice car? Is it having a big house? Is it having a cabin? Like, what is most important? And then optimize your finances and optimize your life to get the things that are most important to you. Like, if golf is important to you, figure out a structure that's going to allow you to golf. Like, you can do any of it, but like, yeah, you're not going to be able to do everything. And that's something I've struggled with right recently. It's like, I was like, man, I want to get out on the golf course. But then I'm also like, right now, my physical health is really important to me. So the mornings that I do, I could go golf. I'm really, a lot of them I'm choosing to go run or go do these things. And realizing that this season of my life, that's the trade-off I want to have. I'm not going to be a 10 handicap or under for probably the next few years. At some point, though, that's going to be a season of my life that I want to go tackle. At some point, I'm going to say, I'm in good health. I'm just going to kind of maintain here or sacrifice other parts, and I'm going to now focus on golf. But I can't focus on everything at the same time. I can't say, hey, I want to get my health in order. I want to get my finances in order, make more money, and I want to get my handicap to a 10, and I want to be a good father and be at home with my twins. Like, it's not possible to do it all. So figure out what's most important at the current time.
Yep.
And then develop around that. And so that's my biggest, I think that's most important, is just decide what is most important in your life, create some non-negotiables, and not that those don't have to be forever. You're going to go through different seasons. Brendan, one of my buddies, Brendan, was like, sent me a reel today about an Ironman. He's like, you're not down to do an Ironman. I'm like, yeah, I am down. But the biggest thing is holding me back right now is just time. Like, that training schedule is so rigorous. I'm like, I just don't have the time right now for that. But that's not to say, like, in a few years when the kids are a little bit older and business is where I want it and things, like, I think I could make the time to train, and I'll go tackle that then. But here's what's important to me now, and this is what I want to tackle now.
Yeah.
And you got to have that prioritization, or you're just going to feel like you're spinning and you don't know what to prioritize. So then you're not going to prioritize anything. And then you're just going to doom scroll and waste your time, and because you have no clear vision on where you're going or what you should be doing. Yeah. So clarity is the key to all of this. Getting clear.
Clarity, bet on yourself, and don't be afraid to make the jump.
And create leverage.
Yep. Create leverage. It's part of the jump.
It's part of the jump. Let's figure out how to create leverage. get either time or money working for you. So that was a good episode, dude.
Yeah.
There's actually, here's one thing. I was listening to a podcast on my run the other day that I actually tied back into this too. I'll share it here at the end. If you don't know where you're going, it becomes really easy to sacrifice your future for the present because you don't really understand what the future impact is. So if you don't know where you're going, you don't know what you're shooting for, it becomes really easy to continue to sacrifice your future and make decisions on things today because you don't actually see what the true impact is. It's really easy if you don't have a financial goal that you're aiming for. It's really easy to go back. Yeah, I'm going to go buy a freaking new car or a trailer or this watch because it's like, well, what's the real impact? You don't see the impact because you don't know exactly where you're heading. So start with where you're heading. It'll make decision making a lot easier day to day when you have a filter that you can run it through. Is like this getting me closer to my end goal? If not, then no. So
love it, man. Thanks for letting me go on that tangent.
Yeah.
That was good.
That was good.
Yep.
All right, guys. Till next week. Catch you later.
Welcome to the chase where the champions dwell. To the grind, to the hustle, the pursuit of wealth. Every story, every journey, every climb from the shelf. Here's to the drive, to the fight, to pursue the wealth.